soil provides the foundation for plant growth, so understanding what goes on down there is vital for gardening success. Now, soil also supports plants physically, so it helps to anchor the roots and give the plants stability, but it also provides them with vital water, nutrients, minerals, and air so roots can breathe. It's also full of life, seen and unseen, that helps to support plant growth. Different soils feel and behave differently, so understanding the texture of your soil is a great place to start if you want to understand what you're gardening in.
Soil texture refers to the proportions of different size mineral particles, so sand, silt and clay in the soil. Texture determines how the soil feels, coarse or fine, and influences properties like drainage, aeration and nutrient holding capacity.
And there's a simple ribboning test you can do to help determine the texture of your soil.
Take small samples of soil from the garden. It's a good idea to gather a few samples from different places so you know what you're dealing with.
To do the test, you want just enough soil to sit in the palm of your hand.
Be sure to get rid of any big chunks of gravel or bark. Wet the soil a little bit at a time. You want it to be moist so that it sticks together, but not muddy.
So then just knead it for a few minutes until it feels consistent. And while you're doing that, pay attention to how it feels. Does it feel smooth or gritty or sticky?
Now squeeze it and see whether it forms a ball or falls apart. Then press it out between your thumb and forefinger and slide it forward to see if you can form a ribbon that holds together. At one end of the scale are the clays. They feel smooth and slippery. You can't really feel the individual particles and you can press them into long ribbons. At the other end of the scale are the soils where you can really feel the particles. You can't press them into ribbons and they fall apart like this. These are the sands. Then there are the loams, which is somewhere in the middle. You can still feel some particles, but they can be pressed into short ribbons. The longer the ribbon, the more clay is in the soil. Now that you know what type of soil you've got, you can start to understand how it might behave. Clays tend to get sticky when they're wet and bake out when they're dry. Water moves slowly through clay. That's why they can easily become waterlogged. But on the upside, a good clay topsoil can have a good supply of nutrients and organic matter. On the flip side, sandy soils often have little organic matter. Water moves through them quickly, so they drain, sometimes too well, so they might not hold on to enough water for our plants. They can also be poor in nutrients, but they're easy to cultivate.
So generally a sandy loam, so something in between, is best for plant growth, because usually these soils will drain well, but they'll still hold on to water and nutrients. They also provide good conditions for root growth and they're easy to dig. Just bear in mind that not all sandy loams are created equal. So we've looked at soil texture and the impact it has on plant growth. Now let's look at soil structure and the impact it has. So soil structure describes how those particles, so sand, the silt, the clay, are arranged or clumped together into larger aggregates. And good soil structure creates pores or spaces between aggregates that allow air, water, and roots to move easily through the soil. And the pores play different roles.
For example, if you were to water the soil and allow it to drain, the smallest or narrowest pores often hold the water. A film of water also adheres to the particles. The larger pores are filled with air, so the roots can breathe in the oxygen from these air pockets. Without oxygen, the roots can suffocate and die.
When it comes to holding and releasing water, soils behave a little bit like sponges. So if the soil has small pores, so for example a fine clay, it can be good at holding onto moisture, but other things like aeration and the infiltration of water through the soil can be affected. On the other hand, water is lost quickly from sandy soils because they're made up of mostly large pores.
So when we talk about good soil structure, we mean that the soil drains well, but still has a good amount of water held in the soil that's available to plants, as well as a good supply of air to the roots. Where you can, don't overwork the soil. Overworking the soil, particularly when it's wet, can lead to compaction. Tilling or digging too much can also disrupt beneficial soil organisms that help to maintain good structure naturally. Heavy machinery or excessive foot traffic on wet soil can also damage soil structure and compact the soil.
There are a few things you can do to improve and protect soil structure, but one of the easiest things you can do is to add organic matter to the soil. So that's things like compost and aged manure. So it helps to improve the soil structure and therefore the supply of oxygen and water to plants.
It's also a source of nutrients for plants because the nutrients are released as the organic matter slowly decomposes. It can even help to control root diseases and promote healthy root development and general plant growth.
The other thing that you can do to improve soil structure is to encourage soil life, and it's often the things in the soil that you can't see that play the biggest role. For example, a spadeful of healthy soil can contain billions or tens of billions of microbes.
Microbes play a crucial role in maintaining soil health and supporting plant growth. They decompose organic matter, breaking it down into simpler nutrients that can be absorbed by plants. They also help to cycle essential elements like nitrogen, phosphorus and carbon through the ecosystem. Some microbes form symbiotic relationships with plant roots, such as nitrogen-fixing bacteria that convert atmospheric nitrogen into a form plants can use, or mycorrhizal fungi that increase root access to water and nutrients. So microbes are most abundant when there's plenty of food around for them, and that's where compost and organic matter really come into play. Because not only do they increase the soil biodiversity, so they add microbes to the soil, but they also provide a really easy, digestible food for microbes to munch away on. And that means they encourage a healthy soil.